Hi everybody, this is Crystal. So today I'm going to show you how to make this hat here. It's got the brim that folds up, the nice ridging on it, and a pom-pom on top, which of course you can leave off if you want. Now this hat is really easy to make. It's just made with simply single crochet and double crochet done in the back loop. Now it's made, if you look on the inside, you can see where it was slip stitched up. So it's made in one rectangle, and then we slip stitch it up the side like this, and then we gather the top at the end. Gather it up close and shut the top, and then add a pom-pom if you want, and fold up the rim of your hat. But it's not hard at all. So let's go ahead and get started on this. Okay, for this project I am using Red Heart Super Saver stripes. It is a 100% medium weight number 4 acrylic yarn, 100% acrylic. Now you don't have to use this yarn. Any medium weight 4 yarn will work. The color I am using is called Sutherland Striped, and there are 236 yards in the skein, and one will be enough to complete the hat. And then I'm going to be using a size J, which is a 6mm crochet hook. Alright, you want to start off with a chain of 41. Now once you get your chain of 41 done, you want to do a single crochet in the second stitch from the hook. Now remember, we do not count the one that's on our hook. So in the second stitch, we're going to do a single crochet. And then I'm going to do one single crochet in every stitch for the length of the chain. Just like this. So row 1 is one single in every stitch until you get to the end of the row. Okay, once you make it to the end of row 1, you should have a total of 40 stitches now. 40 is the magic number. That's what we're going to have at the end of every row now. So rows 2 and 3 are the repeat rows. So for row 2, we are going to chain 1 and turn our work. Now working in the back loop only, if you look, the stitch has 2 loops. The one closest to you is the front loop, and the one furthest away is the back loop. So working in the back loop only, we are going to do a double crochet into this very first stitch. This is always the hardest one to get the back loop of. Back loop only, we double crochet. And now I'm going to work one double crochet, back loop only, in every single stitch until I get to the end of the row. Remember, we're only working in the back loop of each stitch. So one double in every stitch, back loop only, until you get to the end of row 2. Alrighty, I've made it to the end of row 2, and you still should have a total of 40 stitches. Now row 3, what we're going to do is chain 1 and turn. Now we're going to be working in the back loops only still. We're always working in the back loops only from now on, but this time we're just going to do single crochet into the back loops only. Make sure you go into the back loop of this very first stitch and single crochet. And then we're going to do one single crochet, back loop only, in every stitch till you get to the end of the row. Just like this. And that's what it starts to look like. So go ahead and repeat your 1 single crochet in every stitch until you get to the end of row 3. Okay, I made it to the end of row 3, 40 stitches still. And now what we're going to do is just we're going to keep repeating rows 2 and 3. So it's we're on row 4 will be double crochet in the back loop only, and then row 5 will be single crochet in the back loop only. Double crochet in the back loop only, single crochet in the back loop only. And we're just going to keep repeating those rows 2 and 3. You chain 1 and turn. Always working in the back loop only. So I'm on my double crochet row right now. So we're just going to keep repeating those back and forth. Now you always have 40 stitches at the end of every row, regardless of what row you're on. And you'll always be working in the back loops. All right, I have done a total of 42 rows. Now what you want to do is give your piece a stretch. Okay? And then you want to take your measuring tape and you want it to measure, stretched, you want it to measure about 22 inches or so, like that. Okay? So if you need to add a little bit more or take out a little bit less in case you crochet tighter or looser the meat, that's fine. Just make sure it's right around 22 inches after it's stretched. But I did the 42 rows, and you want to end in a row of double crochet. So now what we're going to do is seam it up. So you see here where the double crochets are facing right side up. This is the front of your work. So you want to, we're going to sew it up backwards. So what we're going to do is just flip it like in half like that. So this is the wrong side. Of course, if you want this to be the right side, that's fine, whatever you want. But this is the side that's going to be on the inside of the hat. We're going to seam it up like this, so, and then we'll flip it right side out, and that way the seam won't show. So all we're going to do is slip stitch it together. So we're going to go through the first, we're not doing back loop only, we're going to go through both loops now. So we're going to go through both loops of the first stitch, and then both loops of the first stitch over here, and slip stitch. And that's what we're going to do all the way down. Both loops on this stitch, both loops on the stitch on the other side, and slip stitch it right up. And I'm going to continue slip stitching it until I get all the way to the top and it's completely closed. Okay, so once it's slip stitched all the way to the top, you can go ahead and clip your yarn and tie that off. And then we'll go ahead and flip our work right side out, and it should be, the seam should be pretty well matched up with the rest of the hat. Yep. So you can see the seam is right here, but it pretty well matches the rest of the way that the ridges go. Pretty close anyways. Really can't ask for much better than that. So now we're going to sew, just kind of gather the top up and sew it up. So you want to get your yarn needle and a piece of yarn, and my yarn's piece is probably like 5 foot long. It's better to have too much than not enough. So what I'm going to do is just go back and forth across the top. Leave a tail here that we can sew in later. And then what we'll do is we'll pull it all together later. I'm kind of just going at the end of the stitch there. see how I'm going. I'm not really going in, I'm just going like in between the stitch there, the hole there. And I'm going to do this all the way around. I'm doing it kind of at the end of every row here. And then we'll kind of pull it together and it should close it up. And then stick a pom-pom on it, hide some tails, fold up the brim, all that good stuff. So we're getting close to being finished. So I'm just going to continue going all the way around like this, just weaving this yarn back and forth to the end of the rows until I get to where I started, and then we'll pull it, gather it and pull it shut. Alright, I have weaved in and out of every stitch, every other stitch, just, you know, around the top here. Now what I'm going to do is take my tail and I'm going to slowly kind of just gather up my top. You can pull your other tail that you started with too, if you want to. You got two tails they're working with, and you can just pull them until the hat gets as tight closed as possible, and then we'll sew it together the rest of the way. But usually you can get it pretty tight with doing this. Okay, I'm going to clip off a little bit of this extra tail because I definitely don't need that much anymore. Like I said, I'm glad I had extra. Now you just want to take it at the top. Keep pulling it tight though, as tight as you can get it. Let me pull my camera down a bit. There's your one tail. We'll sew that one in too. And just take it and sew up the top with these two tails that remain. So there's no hole up here. Pull it tight. But as you're sewing it together, you're also hiding these tails at the same time. Two birds with one stone. I'll put your hand up there to help you see what still needs to be sewn is fine. Now I'm going to do this at the end that we started with. I'm going to use it and just sew around top a little more. At the same time, I'll be hiding this tail too. So just want to put your hands in there like I am, and make sure you can't see there's no hole up there still. If you're going to put a pom-pom on it, doesn't really matter if there's a tiny hole. I guess it'll be covered, but if you're not, you want to make sure that it's closed up as tight as you can get it. Takes a little sewing, but you'll get it. And once you get this all sewn up, you just want to clip these tails, and then you can hide any remaining tails that you have that are hanging around. Okay, and I went ahead and folded my brim up. Now if you want to, you can leave it like this. It looks awesome like this, the way it is. If you want to add a pom-pom, you can. Now there's many different ways to add pom-poms. I bought these pom-poms, I think I said Amazon in the beginning, and these have a loop on them. Some of them have buttons, some of them have loops. I prefer the ones with the elastic loop. Now you can sew it on real tight to where it's not going to come off. Some people hot glue them on, which I have done before, or you can, I'll show you what I'll do with this one. This way it can be removable in case you want to wash your hat. just take a piece of yarn and a yarn needle and go through the loop and through where you want to put your, at the top of the hat there. Pull it out. And then you want to do the other one the same way in the same spot. And you basically just kind of knot it on or tie it from the inside. And that way you can untie it whenever you want to wash your hat. That's what I'm going to do this time. But if you want something more permanent, I suggest hot glue. Or sewing it on with a regular thread and needle. But this way you can just put some knots in it real tight. And then leave the strands hanging. And then if you want to wash your hat, you could just clip the pom-pom off, wash your hat, and then do this to put the pom-pom back on. That's it. That's how I'm going to add my pom-pom. A couple strands hanging. That's it. Now the hat is finished. I think it turned out pretty cute. I like it. So, this didn't take that long. I don't think it was too bad at all, and I really like the outcome. So if you make this or any of my other crochet items, I'd really like to see a picture of it. You can post a picture of anything that you make from my tutorials on my Bagoday Crochet fan Facebook page. I'll put a link to that below. Also, you'll find a link to my Instagram. I just started that back up, so maybe you want to check me out on there and see what I'm up to. Also, don't forget to check out all my other tutorials. If you look over there on the right hand side, I'm going to put a playlist of all my hats. I have quite a few hat tutorials. So, I like to make hats, and I like to wear them. They're a lot of fun. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the thumbs up. Thanks everybody for watching. Have a good day.